What can you take home from your cruise without any fear you're doing the wrong thing, either morally or legally? This question really hit me while I was packing at the end of a recent Cunard Queen Anne cruise, as in the disembarkation letter, a section was highlighted with a list of items that I was not allowed to take, warning that if I did, there would be penalties. I did a double take, as it included items I often take home from a cruise. It got me questioning what we can take from a cruise these days without any fear of getting into trouble. Obviously, there are things we know are wrong and blatantly illegal to take, like those passengers who attempted to take $12,800 worth of artwork they'd removed from the art gallery on their Carnival Legend cruise. It was clearly wrong. Anyway, welcome aboard. I'm Gary Bembridge, and here's what I've discovered you and I can safely take home, starting with what we can take from the cabin without being charged or getting into trouble. Now, I always used to take home from cruises those miniature toiletry bottles in the bathroom, and across the years I've taken home some great toiletry brands including L'Occitane, Bulgari, Acqua di Parma and Molten Brown. I would take them home to use when traveling or to give to my mum as a little memento from my cruise. However, now the cruise lines have shifted into larger refill bottles, lines like Cunard do not let me take those home. So if I took their large Pele Haligons toiletry bottles home, they were warned I would be charged in that disembarkation letter. So while I did not pack the toiletries, there were though a couple of other things in my cabin that I did take home. First, some bottles of champagne and wine. When I boarded, there was a fancy welcome bottle of Laurent Perrier champagne in the cabin, and during the cruise as a Diamond loyalty member, I got sent another bottle of fancy sparkling wine. Now, I don't drink alcohol, but I packed both of those to take home to my sister who loves champagne. That is perfectly fine to do. Also, as I was cruising in a Queen's Grill suite as a birthday treat cruise, one of the perks is to choose 2 large bottles of alcohol to have in the cabin. Now, in the past, I've chosen a bottle of liqueur like Drambuie to take to our mother and a bottle of Bailey's to take to my sister. Once again, on this cruise, I decided to take those home. Now, if you do have included wines and drinks, you can theoretically take those home because they're all part of your package, obviously within reason. The other thing that I love taking home from a cruise, and I did from this one, are the branded pens. Many cruise lines have cabins with beautiful branded pens, as Cunard did, along with a small Cunard branded pad. I always take those home because I love to have those as mementos, and that again is perfectly fine. Now, on Cunard, I even had some fancy personalized stationery to take home. As I was traveling in Queen's Grill, you can ask for writing paper with your name and cabin number to be printed. I did, and I took that home. But most cruises that I've been on, they have branded envelopes, writing paper and postcards in the cabin, which you can take home without any issues. Partly, of course, because the cruise lines want us to be using, for example, those postcards to help promote the cruise line. Another item I've had on previous cruises that I've taken home off some premium lines like Windstar and Disney are the little cable tidies that the cabin steward used to tidy the charger cables for things like my mobile phone. They're really rather handy to have at home and when traveling. Also, on some premium lines like Silversea I was on recently, they left glass cleaning cloths in the cabin, which are also handy to use at home. I always take home with me all the daily programs, port guides and leaflets. I love collecting those. I enjoy going back over the years and looking at past cruises, and I use them, of course, to research some of the videos that I make. What I couldn't take home from my Cunard Queen Anne cabin without being charged were things like the beautiful fluffy dressing gowns, branded umbrella or binoculars. I could though ask to buy those. However, I could take home the slippers. Those are single person use slippers, and although I generally don't use them often myself, it's also one of the things I used to take home for my mum. She used to love getting those little slippers from the different cruises, again as a memento to wear around the house. Although I couldn't take home the sheets and the pillows, did you know that several cruise lines will actually sell you those? For example, I was on Oceania recently and they left leaflets in the cabin on how to order the bed and bedding for home. Other cruise lines, including lines like Princess, do that as well. Next, I want to talk about what you can take from around the ship without any charges or trouble. One of the things that I take back from many cruises are shopping freebies. Most cruise lines, while they're in Alaska, the Caribbean and the Mediterranean, have onboard shopping advisors. Now they run a program to encourage and entice us to visit very specific stores in port, such as Effie Jewelry, Diamonds International, Del Sol Color Change, Clothing, and so on. Now these companies have paid fees to be part of that program. So those advisors often place leaflets and small freebie items in the cabin on embarkation days. They then run shopping talks during the cruise where they hand out more freebies. Now these tend to be charms to collect or simple necklaces, t-shirts, and so on. Then in port, the shops on the program will hand out more items just for visiting them. Again, like charms or earrings. They can be fun to collect. Are they worth a lot? No, probably not. But you can take them back from a cruise without any concerns at all. The other thing which I like to collect and take home are the daily puzzle, crossword and Sudoku sheets. I never have time to do them every single day on a cruise, so I collect them up each day to do at home. I used to also, by the way, hand some of them on to members of my family who are probably more adept, certainly things like Sudoku, than me, and they really enjoyed getting them when I came back from a cruise. The other thing, which is also a little tip, is the casino goes through loads of packs of cards, and many cruise lines will give those away. So if you go to either the front desk or the casino host desk and ask if you can have some of the packs of cards that they no longer need, they will often give you those to take home. Now in the past, you could actually build a really nice little collection of cruise line branded playing cards. So unfortunately, most cruise lines today seem to be using just regular card packs. Another thing you can take off a cruise ship are the casino chips. Though as casino chips can only be used on board the ship, they are basically worthless off it. So it may make less sense. However, I've met many gamblers that like to collect a casino chip from each ship they cruise on as a kind of memento. They of course cost you, but if you collect, say, low value chips of $1 or so, it's not too costly of a memento and souvenir. Talking of souvenirs, some lines do give these that you can basically take home. The main one for me is on Holland America, which on many of their cruises give guests a commemorative tile. It's a Delft style tile, it's linked to their origins in Holland, and I have a small collection of those building up from the various cruises I've been on. Many cruise lines also include commemorative or collectible glasses or mugs as part of some of the drinks packages, for example a refillable soda cup. Now those at the end of the cruise you can take home. On some lines, like some of the river cruise lines I've been on, and lines like Oceania and Viking that have removed plastic bottles, they provide a refillable water bottle and refill stations around the ship. I can take the bottle home if I want to at the end of the cruise. I've also been to events where the line has given me a commemorative glass to take home too. For example, on a recent Holland America South America trip, I was invited to go to a table hosted by one of the senior officers, and we were all given a commemorative glass shot glass to take home at the end of that dinner. The other thing that some cruise lines do, for example on Viking cruise lines, is use a device known as a quiet vox on excursions. These are little devices where when you're on tour, the tour guide speaks into a little microphone and it transmits so you can hear the guide. It's really handy in really busy, noisy tourist places, for example. Now they all come with a set of earphones, which again I can take away because they are a one-person use earphone. When I do a hop on hop off bus in port, they also have those as well. Now I often take these home and I keep those as a backup earphone in case I lose or forget to pack mine. So for example, I've actually used them in the gym to plug into a stationary bike to listen to television or music while working out. So they're kind of handy to have and take with you. Another thing I often like to take home is brochures. At the Queen Anne Cruise Future Cruise offices, they had many myriads of brochures of future cruises, including for newly launched itineraries. So I brought them home to plan my travels. Of course, another thing I must take away is my cruise card. While on the cruise, it gets me on and off the ship, it opens my cabin door, and I use it to charge things. But once I leave the ship at the end of the cruise, as the line doesn't want it, I basically have to take it home with me. It becomes a memento, and I know that many people collect them as reminders of the trips they have done. Is there anything that I've forgotten that people need to know about? If so, leave that in the comments. But before you do that, why don't you join me over in this video where I look at the things that most cruisers have no idea their cabin steward can do for them, starting with the one that surprises people most. See you over there.